I count slowly, slowly, slowly getting faster. Once I start counting, it's very hard to stop. Hey, faster, faster, it is so exciting. I could count forever, count until I drop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. I love counting whatever the amount. 1, 2, 3, 4, hey, 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 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, that's it.
Good morning, Possums, and welcome to your Week 6 update. A little bit of movement this week. We'll start with most total points. We have a new leader in Sean. He's moved to just under 700 points, trailing the closest behind is Mr. Bissell. Trailing the farthest behind is Eminem. In most points scored against, bring out the best. We have the same leader this week in Dustin. Dustin's had over 700 points scored against him. The easiest path forward at the moment has been Eminem, trailing by about 120 points. Highest single weekly score. We had some close ones this week. I thought both Brett and there for a while Mr. Rideout would threaten our high water mark of 162.8. Brett came the closest at 154.9, a little under 8 points off. So for now, the commissioner's week 3 score still stands. The squeaker, well, so another surprise this week. We've had another tie, and Randy has once again been involved, and not only been involved, has won. This time defeating Dustin in the tie. Guys, the two things. So the current league setting is that if there is a tie, it moves on to the bench as the tiebreaker. So that's the way the league is set up, and that's the way it'll function the remainder of the year. If we want to change that next year, we can vote on that. As it relates to the squeaker, after going back and looking at the way the rules were written, I am going to say that the same rules that I applied last week apply this week. The squeaker says you have won a game by a point or less, and it's making that assumption on straight up. So I am declaring, as I did last week, a tie that uses the bench to break the tie does not win the squeaker. So the squeaker remains open, and hopefully, at least I hope I avoid playing Randy to a tie in the coming weeks. All right, on down to the last man standing early. Unfortunately, Mr. Barry, by 0.2%, beat out my score this week. So your beloved commissioner is eliminated from the last man standing early. That leaves Barry and Dustin. Moving on to week 7. The high score of those games this week will win that $58 prize, and that contest will close. Most valuable player. One other note around this one. This week we're doing wide receivers. It says wide receiver 1, but it is in actuality wide receiver. I talked to a couple of y'all guys before the games, as the games got kicked off on Sunday, to make it clear. I have taken the top score of any of your 3 wide receivers. That is because I remembered last year we got into a little bit of an issue where just because it shows in the wide receiver 1 slot on your screen when you set your lineup does not mean that same person is in the wide receiver 1 slot when I look at the results. So the wide receiver 1 was simply the wide receiver with the highest score. Bob And Mr. Brown was the best performance in week 6 here. But still a strong performance by Sean. Sean moves into the lead, or actually may remain in the lead, I don't remember. But in any case, Sean is in the lead with 66.2 points. The closest trailing behind is Brett. The farthest trailing behind is Barry. This week coming up in week 7, I'll be looking at your best performing running back in a running back slot, not the flex, but running back. And then we will cap off with quarterback in week 8. Sorry for ever who had Aaron Rodgers. I think that was you, Mr. Linville. Worst first round pick remains static. No updates there. No Barry prize action this week. Last man standing late will begin in week 8. And finally, full participation. In my capacity as commissioner, I am declaring the full participation prize as awarded. Sean managed to have all the members on his active roster score at least 6 points in week 6, thanks to fine performance by his kicker. So that prize is now awarded and closed. Gentlemen, that leaves us with the final week 6 update with Crushing the Competition has been awarded to M&M. Pick Streak has been awarded to me. Full participation has been awarded to Sean. Most total points, high single weekly score, bring out your best, worst first round pick, Barry, Squeaker, last man standing early and late, and most valuable player is still pending award. We expect to be back at Little Capone's again Sunday unless something happens. Until then, roll tide.